Welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by criticizing current, former players. Today, we are talking about Survivor 50, Episode 9. I deserve all of this, and we all deserve all of this. I'm your co-host, Josh Wessler, joined today by Ryan Stacy and Derek Kubicek. And if I don't deserve this, at least you guys do.
You know what? We don't deserve this.
I don't know what this is. I may or may not deserve it, but you know who did deserve what he got? Is Jeff Probst and Jimmy Fallon.
I think we're starting beef tonight.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Fallon may have pissed off the entire Survivor community in one fell swoop. And that guy didn't need any more haters, but he's got a whole army of them now, I think, after tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there are haters and then there are niche haters.
I will never watch Jimmy Fallon. Oh, wait. Oh. Yeah, let's get into spoilers.
Spoilers. Go watch the episode if you haven't. It's decent enough. 3, 2, 1. Jimmy Fallon, what was this, man?
What was this?
Voting for yourself, a self-own. This was one of the few rules in Survivor that we hadn't infringed upon. Is nothing sacred anymore?
Yeah. Look, these celebrities need to either get on the show properly and play, or they need to get the hell out. One or the other. Don't care which one it is. Them. Actually, I don't really want Jimmy Fallon playing. He can go away. So yeah, it was dumb. The ultimate twist, the Jimmy Fallon twist, which we'll get more into tonight. There was a better way to do this twist with the same result. Yeah, it was just dumb. But the rest of the episode was great.
I'm curious what the other way to do this with the same result is gonna be.
Well, honestly, last week we started by litigating the twist, and since we're gonna have it a certain way that we're gonna talk about, Ryan, how would you improve the named? How would you make it? You know, instead of the Jimmy Fallon vote in the urn,
we're not calling it the Jimmy Fallon anything. The one in the urn.
Yeah, one in the urn. So the Ryan Stacy one in the urn.
It's the Ryan Stacy one in the urn.
No, I don't want my name on anything. It's dumb. No, okay. So the advantage tonight that Christian got the chance to win when he was on the journey was one in the urn. He gets to vote ahead of time, put one in the urn. All it has to be is you lost your vote tonight, and there's one in the urn. For you have a vote in the urn already. That's it. Christian doesn't have to write his own name now. He just doesn't get to vote. It's so much simpler that way. It's less, I don't know, in the spirit. This feels like against the spirit of Survivor, where you have to vote for yourself. That's stupid. This is just a way to get the same result without anyone having to vote for themselves. Like, come on, like. What is there? A gun to Christian's head and he's got to vote for himself? No, it reminds me a lot of what happened in 44 was the control a vote. Stupid. I wonder what would happen if you refused to go along with it. Be like, no, I'm not writing my name down. No, I'm not. No one's controlling my vote. No. If you want to take my vote away, fine, but I'm not going to go write down whatever name they said. No, that's stupid. If I wanted to do that, I'd go on like Big Brother or something. So no, this is dumb, and there's a simple way around it.
Right. This is kind of a lose your vote with extra steps. I like your amendment because it's sort of like, hey, you came here to risk this. Now you have guaranteed one vote against you, and you can't vote, so now you can't use your shot in the dark either.
Yeah.
And maybe you still have to go read the bad envelope. That one vote will start in the urn for Christian tonight, but then he can still lie about whether or not he has his vote. Instead, this was basically production saying, hey, everyone, this guy here, he has no protection.
We got Dodson here. Yeah, we got Christian here, and you can get rid of him.
And everybody cares.
Like, everyone wants. So congratulations, Jimmy Fallon. You got one of the most popular players to ever play Survivor taken out. Good job. You suck at everything. My favorite joke I've heard about Jimmy Fallon is not one he told, but said when it was announced he was going to take over. What is his show, Tonight Show? Jimmy Fallon, the only thing he should host is a Parasite.
Jesus.
That was a really good joke, I thought. But seriously, he sucks at everything. I don't know why anyone watches his show.
I've got nothing against Jimmy Fallon.
I've never liked Jimmy Fallon.
As a professional or doing what he does, but I do have Survivor beef with him now. Kind of the same way that I have like beef with Billie Eilish. Like, one, get y'all's names off of this. And then plus we found out that apparently Billie Eilish had nothing to do with the Boomerang Idol. It makes me feel like Jimmy Fallon actually had nothing to do with Jeff participating in the challenge, nothing to do with the self-vote, one in the urn nonsense, and we're just kind of plastering names on there in exchange for something. I like corporate shilling, but I like it when it kind of makes sense in the flow of the game. And this is just kind of like, oh, well, we're going to keep saying Billie Eilish and we're going to keep saying Jimmy Fallon. And now we've got the Mr. Beast Super Beware Challenge, which is like AIDS, except dire AIDS, I guess. I mean,
I wasn't expecting a dire AIDS reference.
And I know that's like a sensitive topic, but like
Not
I
on
do,
South Park.
but like I do watch
dire
South
AIDS
call it
is hilarious.
Can we call it a dire beware advantage instead?
It's like a beware advantage, but
dire.
A dire.
So, like, I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings out there, but I am a South Park fan, and they're like, it's a super beware advantage. I'm like, it's like AIDS, but dire. And I'm just like, oh, no. It's like the Mario Bros, but super. Like,
don't put the Mario Bros in this. They have nothing to do with this.
I'm sorry.
So I think the corporate shilling we like is like Applebee's because the contestants get so excited about it, and that's hilarious because it's just Applebee's. It's just Applebee's. I mean, like it's fine, but it's hilarious how excited people get about it. Nobody's excited about Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, literally no one cared when his name came up, and when Jeff started like mentioning it in the challenge when he's naming off people, it's like none of us care. None of us care, Jeff.
So, Josh, you haven't had a chance to weigh in. How do you feel about this?
It feels wrong. It's
wrong.
For another South Park reference, it's wrong. You should not be able to vote for yourself. I like Ryan's idea. That works. If you want to have something like this, I would like to add on to it that you also shouldn't be required to tell everyone that your name is in there. The fact that your name is already going to be in there, I think, is a big enough disadvantage. And if you can navigate that dynamic with people on the beach and get it away from you, knowing, having that inside information that there's already one in the chamber for you, I think that that's interesting enough and dangerous enough to be compelling TV. So I could have done without a lot of this.
Yeah, the only good part was the journey challenge itself, which is just a classic. Unfortunately, this was otherwise like a really fun episode, but there's a little bit of a stain on it. There's a little bit of a stain on this episode, which is too bad, because it was otherwise a fun episode. Guys, should we get into the episode proper?
Yeah, at long last.
At long last? Okay. So we kick off with Devin's getting back to the tribal. He's going to continue with his lie that this is a real idol. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it keeps paying off.
Yeah, I'm interested to ask a question of you guys toward the end here about, keeping the lie alive, but let's wait till we get there.
He could Rizzo himself all the way to the end, I suppose.
That's one way to do it.
But he's going to tell Emily that it's fake. That may have been a mistake. Because Emily can't keep a secret to save her life. Boy, oh boy, do I regret my winner pick of Emily after this episode, especially. Like, I've regretted it for a while, but this is oof. Big oofs.
Not even really talking about Emily and you are making sure to mention that right off the bat.
Right. And if you can identify what Emily is doing, which is disseminating every little bit of information she ever gets to literally everybody that she ever talks to, is there a world where Devins wants the fact that it's a fake idol to float around the camp? Maybe that does help diminish the target, but it does maybe make the showmanship a little more frustrating for the people who ended up getting, maybe not necessarily swayed, but having their votes knocked into the air last episode. I don't know.
But maybe.
But probably don't share this with Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't share the information. You already have Christian out there, and maybe if the two of you decide there's a way to do this tactfully, then sure. I was actually kind of surprised at everyone's reactions to it this episode. It was very much, there was a lot of hate on Devins, and I did not understand that. Like, I get it from the people in the minority who might have gotten plans messed up, but even, people on the fringes, like someone like Aubrey, or even I think Emily had mentioned something about like the fact that this was just over the top and unnecessary. It's like, he absolutely could have had votes coming his way. And also, if this really was a real idol and he grabbed this at tribal council, what do you expect him to do? Like, it just seemed kind of ridiculous the way that people were framing this after the fact.
I think there are a lot of poor babies on this season. Oh, poor baby, did your plan get ruined?
What would have Christian said? Something prissy.
Yeah, poly prissy pants. There's a lot of poly prissy pants on the season who are a bit. There's a lot of whiny babies, especially. There's a lot of that going around in like the post game interviews too. So I think I think everyone needs to stop being a whiny baby and just, play the game.
Well, it is a returner season.
Yeah.
It does feel like there's bad blood this season, guys.
This is very all-stars.
It's so strange because Jeff says that he's had like the most fun on this season ever, but did he just like put on the blinders like, look at the fun we're having?
Yeah. So I don't think you got your season of joy that you wanted here, Probst.
It maybe started joyful, but I think it turned bitter real fast.
Yeah. It's funny. Aubrey wants to distance herself from Devins. Fair enough. Get far away from him right now. So she and Jonathan are going to talk about working together, which could be good for both of them. Christian wants to find a way to save Devins, do some damage control. He does not. He talks to Jonathan and Stephanie and even offers to give up his shot in the dark to build trust with them. It worked with Ozzy. Maybe it'll work again. We'll see.
I don't like him offering it up. It feels a little more disingenuous at that point, especially because he knows that Ozzy is talking with them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This seems a bit much.
Christian realizes that Ozzy's kind of playing the middle. Like, people accuse him of playing the middle. Ozzy's the one playing the middle. So he talks to Devins and Sari about going after potentially Ozzy. But Sari is not going to do that. So as soon as Christian leaves, Sari is going to tell Ozzy and then Jonathan and basically set the table for Christian to go home here.
Yeah, the
Womp
real
womp.
middle is that group of three: Rizzo, Sari, and
Ozzy.
Ozzy.
And people should know Sari and Ozzy are close. That was a day one thing. Like, did Christian forget? Maybe they
Or people just don't care. Like, I truly think the only explanation for me right now is that it's in everyone's plans to take out Sari at like 7. That's what I'm fully expecting is going to happen. I don't know about Ozzy, what people's thought process is with him, if they don't care as much about it. I don't know. But I think that group of 3 is just right in the middle really nicely right now.
Mm-hmm.
The true middle, unlike the middle that was described to us last week, which at least one listener agreed with me was a very confusing way for the edit to frame that up. Yeah. So thank you.
At the immunity challenge, which is the highlight of the episode, Jeff makes a deal, and it ends up being Jeff is going to compete in the challenge. If 4 people that they assign ahead of time all beat Jeff, they get a big bag of rice. If one of them drops before Jeff does, they don't get the rice. And it's so great having Jeff in the challenge and everyone just razzing him, giving him endless crap because he's talked so much crap over the years. To have it just dished right back is so glorious.
I mean, my ass.
Oh, it's good. It's like Jonathan Penner may not be on the season, but he's here in spirit because everyone was channeling their inner Penner and just sassing him. And it was so good.
Yeah, we might have gotten the greatest flashback of all time during this, and just a compilation of Jeff, just roasting past players. And like, this was during his like meaner eras. Like, there was not a recent Jeff clip that was in there. It's all from like the teens. So it was fun to see all those and be like, oh yeah, that's right.
A lot of One World.
Kind of a D word sometimes.
Well, and I know that we're a family friendly podcast, but if you watch this episode of Survivor, I mean, I think the meanest Probst has ever been is when he's like, why don't you quit your bitching and start throwing? Like, I think that might be the single meanest thing he's ever said at a challenge.
I mean, that one was really mean because it was to Penner.
But like, just on the surface, it's very much just
you got to watch the whole clip. No, I disagree.
I guess.
He's definitely been meaner than that. Yeah, a lot of One World. You could tell he was not happy during One World, which is fair because One World sucks.
Go back to Gabon. I think he was miserable in that season too. Isn't that the one where he almost quit?
Yeah, there was talks about him leaving after.
It was like the Jeff Probst show.
Gabon. That one was One World. That was One World.
Okay.
But yeah, there were a few times where there was talks that he might have left the show. But Jeff loses, which is great, and Joe wins immunity.
All the voice cracks, they were so. This is diabolical or barbaric.
Who decides this?
Yeah, he really chose a hard one to do. This wasn't like a stand and balance type of challenge. This was I think I would suck at this challenge. I would hate doing it because it hurts your arms, it hurts your hands, tears them up, and it might not even be grip related. It might just be because your hands are sweaty that thing is slipping. So personally, I think I'd be terrible at this. And I think Jeff was just setting himself up for failure no matter what.
Well, and this is the kind of thing where, like, I understand, season 50 in the hands of the fans, but Jeff has kind of said this season is supposed to be like a celebration of Survivor. This feels like a celebration of Survivor. Making Christian vote for himself feels like a slap in the face of Survivor. So, like, we need to be able to straddle the difference. It's like, if we're doing something fun and playful that has, like, no stakes or super low stakes like this, the fans are going to eat it up. I loved every second of this. And then we immediately turned around and had Christian vote for himself. And I'm like, why?
Yep.
Why did you have to do this? This was so wildly unnecessary.
But Derek, wait, we get Mr. Beast next week.
Ugh.
Shut up.
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, with the dire beware advantage.
Dire beware advantage. So stupid. Anyway.
I hope you leave that little like mutterance under your breath in.
Oh, I will. I want people to know I don't like something, so they're gonna know.
We had no idea.
But Joe, he asks if, Joe gets to send somebody on a journey, and he decides like, oh, anybody want to go? Okay, all of you play rock paper scissors to go, and Christian ends up winning to go on the journey. Joe, I know you don't want to get like any blood on your hands at all for some reason. Just pick Jonathan. He volunteered. He's your ally. Just send your buddy. If your buddy wants to go, send him. It's fine. You don't send the person you want to take out. It worked out. It worked out very nicely. I'm going to give zero credit to Joe.
Yeah, typically we like when you're not making these decisions just because there's not really any negative ramifications as far as socially how the game can go. But I wish he would have cut it off at, hey, like any volunteers, let everyone raise their hands and then pick from the people like in that group who you actually would want to potentially. I mean, it could work out poorly for them, but that's part of volunteering. They're putting themselves up for grabs there. So I definitely think that would have been a better route than this.
I have 2 points I want to make. One, this could be like a whoop-de-wop of the edit, but it seems like they hadn't brought Joe in on the plan yet, because Ozzy had not had a conversation with Joe yet that Christian was throwing out Ozzy's name. We didn't see that until after all of this went down. If that's the case, you need to make sure that your allies are on the up and up of at least what's going on and who's throwing out names beforehand, so Joe can have that in his mind and pick anybody but Christian right now. Like, they're not solidifying a plan, but like Christian was gaming pre-immunity challenge. Everyone should keep that in mind. So I wanted to at least throw that out there, but also, like, Joe, you're not going to help or hurt your game by just sending Jonathan on the journey, man.
He knew about possibly voting out Christian.
They talked about like taking the vote, but then Christian hadn't been stirring anything up, so they were talking about Christian. They were talking more about Devins at the time,
right? But they were talking about taking a shot in the dark and voting him out. Why would you send him?
Right, he had reason, but I'm saying like there wasn't anything super solidified. Like they talked to Joe about it again later, and then Joe's like, "Oh yeah, he's got to go." Like, okay, if they'd already had that discussion, why did he fist bump him again in the hammock? I don't know. That's why I say it feels like a weird edit.
I don't agree.
That's fine. You don't have to. I saw what I saw.
Okay. What is great is back at camp, they're cooking rice because they want a lot of rice, and Emily's gonna get on Cerie's case about how much she's cooking. Emily, chill. You could tell the difference between the 5/6-time player and the 2-time player right here.
I mean, you can tell the difference between Cerie and Emily.
Like, oh, wait, yeah, that's true.
Like, Cerie playing her first time was miles ahead of anything Emily has ever accomplished as a player. Sorry, Emily. Like, Cerie's a legend for a reason.
And Emily, you're not good at Survivor.
And Emily, yeah.
And here's the thing. Even if you are right about the rice, this is not something that you push back on more than once. Like, if you want to say something, yeah, say it once. I got no issue with that. Saying it 4 or 5 or however many times it actually ended up being, not good.
I just want to push back on you, Cerie, about how much rice we're making here tonight. Well,
chill.
Well, let's see. We had 0 rice before. Now we have 1 rice. Let us make parts of that 1 rice. It's not complicated.
So the plan develops to be a split between Devins and Christian, and for Jonathan to try and get Christian shot in the dark. Well, that part's not really going to matter because Christian's going to go on his journey and lose at his challenge, which, it was fun bringing this one back where the puzzle gets yoinked right into the sea, and we get some excellent footage of that sinking down into the depths, just like Christian's game.
Great shot, Survivor production. This was,
that was a beautiful shot.
and the fact that the puzzle stayed together as it sank.
Yeah, how?
And it's like,
how?
and Ryan's like, that's a metaphor for Christian's game. And it's like, it's almost complete. You know, he's working on it. He just runs out of time.
And it sinks. So Christian's got to go back to camp and read this note aloud. He's got to vote for himself. He can't play a shot in the dark, even if he wanted to. So he gives it to Jonathan. It means nothing. But here's the shot in the dark. Might as well.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I wonder if Jonathan knew that, or if like he actually found this to be valuable.
Something, I guess. But Emily is going to pitch taking out Ozzy to Suri and Tiffany instead. And as soon as she walks away, Suri and Tiffany are like, yeah, we should get rid of Emily. She is a mess. Emily flipping and flopping all over the place.
We had this a couple of times this episode with both Emily and Christian approaching Suri about voting out Ozzy. So I'm just really confused about, is their alliance just not that obvious? Is it just that behind the scenes that people are comfortable bringing up his name to his potential number one ally? It just seemed kind of crazy that, well, I was going to say two good players, but you know, a really good player and then someone who should at least be able to think like a good player would be able to, you know, put themselves in the mindset to toss out Ozzy's name to her. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think they realize Suri is the person behind the curtain of the Wizard of Oz.
It's strange because we saw this. I mean, dare I, you know, bring up this season, but like season 34, we saw it with Sarah Lucina. Everyone thought that Sarah was their number one. And so, like, you know, Devins and Christian, obviously each other's number one, but I think that they have Suri, like, right there at, you know, 2. I think they trust her more than they trust Emily. I would, if I'm them. She hasn't given them a reason not to yet. Ozzy and Rizzo, obviously her true number ones. But then, yeah, Jonathan and them, they aren't even targeting her. Her name doesn't even come up, which, look, I'm sure that they're talking about Suri in some capacity out there. You can't not be. So, like, edit, is there a reason you're not showing us any of this? Because not even mentioning Suri at this point would be bad gameplay by every one of these players.
Correct. Derek has said it for 2 weeks now. Any time is a good time to get rid of Suri.
Yes, whether or not she's your number one or, like, your biggest enemy, Suri can go at any time now.
I'm telling you, it's going to be it's going to be spot number 7. They know that she's not going to win immunity. And if she does, she's not going to win more than one of them. So that's why I'm fully expecting it to just be a few more votes.
Okay. I hope you're wrong. But we're gonna get a discussion. It turns into a whole thing. Like, do we get rid of Emily? Do we get rid of Christian? Do we like focus on Devins? Who do we get rid of? We're gonna go to tribal council, and it's gonna turn out to be 6 votes for Christian, which includes 1 from himself, 3 votes for Devins, 2 for Ozzy, with Emily and Devins being on the out. So they did a split between Christians and Devins. Devins obviously doesn't play his idol because he doesn't have one, but he doesn't play it. So Christian goes home instead. It should have been a split on Devins being the primary because you want to get that idol out. I mean, this idol flush doesn't do you a ton of good if you don't target the person with the idol, even though there isn't one. But like, as far as you know, there is. So it should have been Devins going home tonight, I think.
As long as it was Devins or Christian, I think I'm okay with whatever happens. Because Christian ended up needing to vote for himself and couldn't use his shot in the dark, the fact that they were thinking, okay, maybe we can get Devins to flush the idol. If flushing the idol is priority A, then yes, it should have been Devins going home. But I think their priority was to weaken Emily, Devins, and Christian. And if that's the case, Christian going home might even be the best one because he maybe had the largest resume, at least from the pre-merge, even if Devins made the biggest splash. And even if Devins is technically higher on my dank down, Christian was number 3, I think. No lower than 4. So I think this works out for everyone who isn't in that other trio that includes Emily. So and Devins and Christian.
Yeah, I think it works. Whether it's Christian or Devins, it should be one of them if this is their thought process. I think it's a little bit of a just good enough excuse since Christian is already going to have a vote on him to go with him. So, like, ultimately, I said, sure, but I wouldn't have been mad about either of them. Actually, I mean, I would be mad about either of them. I don't want either of them to go, but just whether or not it was the right person, I wouldn't be mad about either of them.
Look, Christian's definitely 1B, but there's definitely, like, you have an idol potentially in play. Get rid of it. So 1A, 1B, but Devins is 1A, I think.
It is interesting with Shot in the Dark being in play. One thing that we don't talk about, I think, enough on this podcast is the mindset of the people who might end up being the blowback. So people like Jonathan or Ozzy in this case, if you might be the blowback, Devins, if he has an idol, has 2 shields. He can play his Shot in the Dark, and if he's not safe, he can play his idol. So you have like 2 bites at the apple, so to speak, and like as an adversary, you have to think of the fake idol at least at 50-50, maybe 70-30 because of the way it was executed. Mm-hmm. And then he's got the Shot in the Dark, which is another 1/6. I know that's not how you add statistics together, but all of a sudden it's like, ooh, maybe we just do the sure thing and try and shake the tree enough to take a better shot in the future. I don't know, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. Is like he's got 2 shots to be safe here if he does in fact have an idol.
Just split the vote.
They did split the vote,
but not correctly.
But there are 3.5 factions, and like all it takes is for you to try and split the vote and get too cute, like Chrissy did. Or like,
this would not have been too cute.
If they see Devins and Christian on equal footing, then it would be getting too cute.
I disagree.
It's okay to be wrong, Ryan.
All right. Should we get into best and worst player of the episode?
Yes.
All right. Josh, start us off. Who is your best player?
I have Suri. I'm not sure how her name isn't being brought up right now, but she had both Christian and Emily come directly to her and pitch her number 1 ally to come out of the game. And she immediately took that information, turned to the person next to her and said, yeah, we should probably vote them out. And, 2 people can't go home tonight. So the, one that actually went home was the one who did it first. Christian went up to her first, and I don't remember who she turned to. Maybe Jonathan, maybe Rizzo. I don't remember. But essentially it's like, yeah, looks like we have to take out Christian. I don't want to have to, but if he's coming for my number 1, then he has to go. And the exact same thing happened to Emily. And if Rizzo wouldn't have apparently gotten his way, then Emily could have easily been the one that was going home tonight. So I think that she had a lot of play here in this episode, even if it might not have been super obvious because, I don't know, there's just a lot of discussions going on.
I considered Suri, and depending on what Derek says, I could absolutely change my mind. Coming into this, I wrote down Jonathan because he took out Christian. That was... he was one of the driving forces of this vote, and built a connection with Aubrey, which I thought might be really good for him. But I thought Aubrey and Suri also both played really well, so I'd be open to giving to really any of those 3, depending on what Derek says. So
I had those 3 actually on my upper tier. I gave it to Suri because I gave 1 note. It should be her. It should be her. Nobody is talking about Suri, even though she finds herself in the middle, playing all sides, accusing all of these other people of doing the exact thing that she's doing better than all of these people, and nobody is seeing it. So, I didn't see enough from Aubrey, but I do like what she did. Definitely a net positive on the episode. I like what Jonathan did. He's still trying to... He hasn't lost the game, right? And he hasn't given up, and he's still playing nice. But, it should be Suri. And her name didn't even come up. And in fact, she, again, drove the information and parked it, in the parking lot of what needed to happen and then let everyone else make the decision. So Jonathan's like, ha, I drove this vote. And Suri's like, yeah, but you could have never gotten here without me.
Yeah, I don't actually know how much Jonathan had to do with this vote. He got a lot of screen time. So good for him with that. But I don't think that he changed minds to direct this vote, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but okay, that's enough for me. I'll give it to Suri.
But honorable mentions, I think, to Aubrey and Jonathan.
Yeah, I think they all 3 of them did a really great job. Worst player, it's Emily. She tried it and failed to take out Ozzy. No one trusts her, and she got into it with Suri for no reason over Rice.
I had Emily. I'm going to talk about my winner pick, Rick Devins, for a second. You're kind of suffering the blowback of having this fake idol. And I think there's a world where it was actually much better for him to go ahead and burn the fake idol at Tribal tonight, play it for himself, and then have Jeff tell everyone that it was fake and say, like, I thought I was going home. I pulled a Rick cord. And then at least maybe Coach and Chrissy would appreciate the move from the jury and then maybe bring his threat level down a little bit because at least he wouldn't be targeted for having an idol because of what's had already been cast. Also, he did get into it with Joe a little bit again, and weirdly enough, it seemed like Joe was being the bigger person in that part of the argument, but we know that the edit has been a little tricksy with us on that before, where apparently Joe was being horrible to Devins in their previous fight, and we didn't see that on camera. So we'll just have, I think that was Camilla who said that in her post, that was way worse than what we saw. Dishonorable mention to Devins this episode, and a lot of it is because of what we felt was necessary for him to stay safe last week. But it is Emily.
Yeah, I also had Emily. There's nothing new from what you guys had said. You know, it was just the few big moments, really. It could have easily been her going home tonight if they wanted to split between Devins and Emily. To Derek's point, I agree. I know this is the worst player of the episode award, but just kind of a nice side tangent here because I think it is important. I believe I was the one who brought it up a few episodes ago, mentioning that, if you want to bring an idol, a fake idol, all the way to the end, it might not be rewarded on a season like season 50. Rizzo might have one doing that on 49 with lesser players who might reward that type of gameplay, but season 50 players might not. So I would be really careful if I was Devins trailing this on for too long. I think that he should burn it. I think that he should just kind of make a show of it and basically say hey, this was a big move. Yeah, I know he's going to be vulnerable, but I think that he could be in danger of getting close to the end or to the end, and then people not taking his game very seriously.
It's a tough path, because if you burn it too early, then they'll just take you out. So, having that fear, I get it. So, yeah, it's a tough position to play. And that's why I get why Devin said this was like a last resort play. So, yeah, he's in last resort mode. And I get that. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of defer to him because it's such a fine line. No matter which way you go, you really have to know your players who you're playing with. I'm gonna trust him on this one for now. But anyway, we talked about Devins a lot, but everyone said worst player was Emily. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
We're just personally invested with Devins.
Yes.
We did not do social media.
Oh yeah. I completely forgot. Social media. What did they think? Did the right person go home?
No, and it wasn't really even close. Social media said about 95% of people said no. The wrong person went home.
So good job, Jimmy Fallon.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, let's get into who is going next. Derek, who's going next?
I have some bad news, boys. I think it's going to be Rick Devins because Christian is gone. Christian carries with him the secret of Devins' fake idol. The only person who we knows is Emily. And if she's in self-preservation mode, she's going to let everyone know that, hey, actually, you got a free shot at Devins if you want. And I think that's going to be enough to eke her through one more vote and get Devins sent home. And I'm so sad about it. And I this is already written in my headcanon. I really hope I'm wrong.
I've fully accepted the fact that Devins isn't going to win this game. It's been a fun ride. He could very well be the person going home next. Yeah, I take solace in the fact that he had a big moment in this season, and it was super enjoyable, and I was super giddy during it. So it's going to be fun no matter where he goes out, whether it's next episode or if he gets fourth. I don't know. But I don't think he's going home next week. I do think that it's going to be Emily. I think that she is going to have it turned on her. The one big difference between Emily and Rick is that Rick hasn't come for anyone's alliance members. Emily has. And I think that Suri and Ozzy and Tiffany, and I guess Rizzo, maybe, are going to take that personally. So I think that Emily is going to be going home for that. And maybe they just keep stringing Rick along. Maybe they just take him out in 2 votes. I don't know, but I think that it could definitely be her instead.
I hope Josh is right. And then I'm going to say this part. Our TV cut out, so we missed most of next time on Survivor. So the only thing we saw was the last shot of the Beast.
The dire beware advantage.
The dire beware advantage. I don't know what Hubicki's Law would say.
We had, I think, Rizzo's name tossed out, Ozzy's name tossed out, and Aubrey's name tossed out, and maybe Emily. I don't know. There's a lot of names tossed out.
Well, I didn't hear Devins in there, so I'm going with Devins. No, I was going to go with Devins no matter what. It just makes too much sense. Like, he can't keep getting away with it, as Jesse Pinkman would say. No, I think this will be the end of Devon's, and it will have been a glorious run, but it's coming to an end. All right, let's get into rank downs, jank downs, dank downs, and lank downs. Talk us through last week with the lank downs.
Alrighty. So thank you for everyone for submitting your link downs. Take a moment now to go and submit them wherever you have been, whether it's on the Spotify comments, social media replies, or DMs, or whatever you really feel. Carrier pigeon would be okay too, as long as it gets here by Tuesday. So last week, or going into this week, listeners had a couple small changes. So from the top, they kept Suri in first place, as they should, followed by Rizzo, who had moved up a spot in front of Christian, who was in third for the lank downs, followed by Devins passing up Ozzy for fourth and fifth, followed by Emily, then Tiffany, Aubrey, Jonathan, Stephanie, and Joe. So a little bit of improvement as well from Tiffany and Aubrey.
And two worthy notes from the lank downs, with 11 people like left in the game. Every single listener who submitted said that Suri is number one to win the game. Her average was 1.00.
Wow.
We've never had anything like that with this many people left in the history of lank downs. In season 47, we had Rachel at one point, like going into the finale, like if she makes it, she wins, I think. But 11 people, never seen this before.
Absurd.
And hilariously enough, all but one person had Joe at the bottom. So we've got our bookends here and a lot of variation in the middle.
All right, yeah, get them in for next week, and we'll see. I feel like there might be some changes going into next week because I had some changes on mine. Josh, jank it up.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but I did have a couple of swaps going on here. So obviously Suri is still in spot number one, but I had Rizzo leapfrogging Devins. Last week I thought Devins' move pushed him all the way up to the second spot, but just the reactions this week really left a bad taste in my mouth. And I have a feeling that, if it ended up being, Rizzo and Devins at the end, I don't know if Devins would win in that, just because it seems like people just have a weird viewpoint of his idle play and just his game overall. So Rizzo at 2, Devins at 3, followed by Ozzy, then Emily, Tiffany, Aubrey, Jonathan, Stephanie, and Joe. So I had Tiffany leapfrogging both Aubrey and Jonathan in this episode.
Okay, so who are your bottom three again?
Jonathan, Stephanie, then Joe.
Okay. Well, my rank down, I had a few changes. One big drop. But I have Suri, Rizzo, Ozzy, Devins, Aubrey, Tiffany, Jonathan. And then my bottom three are now Stephanie, Emily, and Joe. I have Emily and Joe as cannot win, with Stephanie beating both of them. Emily dropped a lot. Yeah, no, she's not winning.
I mean, you could think that she's not going to win, but if, the game ended and Emily was going up against Stephanie and Joe, you think that Stephanie would beat Emily?
Stephanie. Joe's still the bottom.
Yeah, you said Stephanie, then Emily, then Joe.
Yes, that's what I said.
So he's asking you, like, if Stephanie would beat Emily.
Yes. And she should. Emily's playing badly.
Stephanie's not doing anything, but okay.
Better than Emily. Like, it's better to do, like, nothing than... and she's not even doing nothing. She's just playing, kind of a steady game. If Stephanie... Yeah, game ends today, Stephanie beats Emily. Emily is... Everyone thinks she's a mess, and they're right. So I've changed my who cannot win. Jonathan jumped up and leapfrogged Stephanie. So Emily and Joe are my bottom two.
All right. Well, I'll just jump right into my dank down. And I want to say that I agree with Josh. So I had Devins at number 2 last week. He's going to fall for me just because of how much everybody reacted to this big move. And having another little like passive fight with Joe tells me that if a lot of those people end up on the jury, Devins is not getting any of their votes. So with that said, I've got Suri still at number 1, far and away, followed by Rizzo and Ozzy. So that trio really hanging out up there. Devins at 4, Aubrey at 5th, Jonathan, Tiffany, and then Stephanie, Emily, and Joe. So I also dropped Emily all the way to the bottom. And it's because, like, even if Stephanie isn't doing much, she seems to be liked by the people there, and her game, although not really existent, is not a mess. So Emily fell out of the middle into the bottom tier for me this episode. I reserve the right to change my mind, but I'm going to need to see someone say one nice thing about her first.
Here's the thing. If your game is a mess, that's okay as long as it comes together at the end. And if you're at the end and it ends up being you, Stephanie, and Joe,
and you stabbed
together,
everybody on the way down, like,
or you just played a really good game to get yourself to the end against two people who were in an alliance separate than you. I think that there would be a story for Emily to tell there.
But what if the game ends today, Josh?
Well, if the game ends today and all those people are on the jury, they're on the jury for a reason. No. I think you have to apply that logic and assume like, okay, if there is a final 3, that person got there with those other 2 people, sending out everyone else that was there onto the jury.
Maybe Stephanie and Joe did it, not Emily.
Maybe. So if those people value Stephanie and Joe's game more, which I don't see happening, then sure. But I just don't believe it.
The reason I think this is really important, Sari is kind of doing a lot of the things like okay, if Emily is a guest on this podcast, I think she might say, hey, I'm taking information people give me and I'm giving it to other people to try and advance my game. No different from what Sari is doing, and she is unanimously ranked number 1 in everybody's rank downs of people left out there. I don't understand why I'm ranked lower than her. Why is it bad when I do it and good when she does it? It's because Sari is the best social game player. When I look at Emily's game, I see someone who has a roadmap to the end, but the way she's doing it, people don't like her on the way there. And I'm not saying that they dislike her. I'm just saying people love Sari and they seem to tolerate her. They seem to get bothered when she opens her mouth and says something that's a little bit out of line. When Sari opens her mouth and tries to push something, people listen. And when Emily does it, it's like, okay, but how is Emily going to help me?
Sari's more careful than Emily.
And is more charismatic.
Yeah.
She's loaded up on all of these skills that I think that Emily just doesn't have. Maybe it's with this cast. Maybe it's just with her additional wisdom or her experience as a Survivor player or a reality star at this point. I don't know. But strategically, sure. Yeah, they've got a lot of parallel. But people like Sari, and I think they tolerate Emily at best, and that makes her game messy and Sari's game genius.
Let's get into the Survivor pool so Josh can have the floor. Josh, what's the update?
Last week I picked Devins because I was worried about him and Christian, and I was debating between the 2 of them. I picked correctly, and Devins did not go home. Ryan and Derek, on the other hand, did not pick anyone because they're no longer in the Survivor pool. LOL. As for our listeners, no one went home. Everyone picked someone else other than Christian. Most people actually picked Devins. So that would have been very interesting to see if Devins actually would have gone home here. But a lot of people burned Devins this week. So that means that all those people are still in. And I guess I just have to make another pick.
Get your Survivor pool picks in, everybody.
Get your Survivor pool picks in.
Survivor pool picks and link downs.
We're getting down there. My only remaining people are Stephanie, Tiffany, Joe, and Ozzy. And this week I'm going Ozzy. I think he's out of that group of 4. I think that he's the biggest threat remaining. So I'm going to just try to burn him as soon as I can. And then after that, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think I could go 4 for 4 here the next 4 episodes, just because I think we're going to go big game hunting with most of the people left on this season.
I can see it.
I think you're in a good spot,
people like
Josh.
Stephanie, Tiffany, and Joe.
I think you're in a pretty good spot. I do.
Yeah. Which honestly, after I started looking at who I had left in the Survivor pool, it got me looking at who's left in this season. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little concerned. I think that we're gonna have a very underwhelming winner with Survivor 50, but that's how it goes.
I mean, how many? We've had all stars. I think you can safely say Amber winning was underwhelming. I think Sandra winning in Heroes versus Villains was underwhelming, but that's because Heroes versus Villains is not very good. I know I'm the only one with that opinion.
Yes,
but that's okay. And then Cambodia, and then Game Changers and Winners of War all have solid winners. So could go either way. Okay, well, yep. Get your pool picks in. Now I believe we have some questions and someone calling me out. I believe.
When isn't someone calling you out, Ryan?
I feel like Derek's usually the one to get called out, not me.
That is true. And you know what? Just like Jeff this episode, I deserve every bit of it.
I deserve none of it.
Like the Canadian province?
Yes, the whole province. I deserve it. That was a good joke.
Thanks.
First up from Larnell on Spotify, are you guys liking the multiple people going home in one episode, or do you think that production has put themselves into a corner to where they have to do double and triple elimination?
This was the plan the whole time. It's fine. I kind of expected it.
They started with 24 people. They didn't lengthen the season, and by lengthen the season, I mean like have more episodes than the traditional 12 or 13 that we usually get. So there's always going to be multiple. I'm not offended by it. It needed to happen. It's better than Metavax.
Better than Medivacs. I agree with you guys, and I think they're actually finding creative ways to do it and not just saying, "Oh, here's another double boot episode." So honestly, like I think it's going about as well as it could go. All right, from Dawson, he says, "I disagree strongly with Ryan, per usual, about the game." And this is in quotes. The game is not on trial. In quotes. Sure, the fans can put the game on trial, but the players should judge each other on how they played based on the rule book they were given that season. By your logic, someone should lose votes because they were advantaged by any production mechanic, such as a swap or an idle. Game mechanics are part of how the game board is set up, and players shouldn't be penalized for the game they were given. Change my mind, Ryan.
No, they absolutely should be penalized. It's not personal. But if someone wins using a stupid twist, like an offensively bad twist, like an Edge of Extinction, like a Final Four fire making that's forced and nobody knew about, then yeah, you can withhold your vote from them. It's like jury nullification. Instead of voting like guilty or innocent or whatever, you just be like, no, this is stupid. I would refuse. If I had been on the jury for Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, I would not have voted for Ben because that twist is so egregious and offensive. Yeah, I'm holding the twist. I'm putting the twist on trial. And yeah, it screws over Ben. It's not his fault. However, you absolutely can choose to not reward production for their dumb BS. I would have done the same thing with Edge of Extinction. So yeah, it's not necessarily the player's fault for using a bad gameplay twist to their advantage. But they shouldn't be rewarded the win because of it. It's just like, that sucks. That's a stupid twist. It's not your fault that you would use it. You used it. I'm not giving that production satisfaction. So yes, the twist is on trial.
You know what's interesting? I don't think I'm straddling the middle here when I say part of every season of Survivor is the jury, and the jury can use whatever they want to make their vote determination. So whether Ryan is speaking as a member, a hypothetical member of a jury, or as a fan, he can say, yeah, I'm not giving Ben the win because nobody knew about forced fire making at Final Four. What was the point in even having that immunity challenge? Putting a Marine up against Devin Pinto in a fire making challenge. That's ridiculous. I don't want to reward the man for that. He was going home. He didn't rise to the occasion and he got saved by production.
The winner of Edge of Extinction tampered with the jury.
Tampered with the jury for basically the whole game. And also as a viewer, it's kind of insulting to have like the middle 11 episodes completely nullified by production's ridiculous twist. So like, in a weird way, what you're saying is accurate, Ryan. And then what a listener is saying as well, you know, you can advantage and disadvantage a winner however you want. However, you know, speak with your vote, talk about your vote. And I like the fact that you're super passionate about what you think about the game, Ryan.
I just don't want War Dogs mentality of, you know, we can't judge the twists to become pervasive because we can and we should.
You know, in a weird way, it's kind of like Survivor production is, you know, the government of Survivor. And sometimes they want us to be like, aha, you have to vote what we push down to you. You have to do that. It's like, no, you have to remember, like, we're the fans. We can revolt. Like, we're the people. We are the many. You are the few. So we need to get our voices out there when we really love something or when we really hate something. And so everything is always on trial. And I do agree with Ryan on that.
Hell yeah. My viewpoint is essentially anyone on the jury can vote in any way that they want. It's not up to me to decide. They all have their own individual rubrics that they're grading on. If they want to put it on trial, great. If they don't, I might disagree with them, but that's up to them. But what I do want to know, Dawson, did Ryan change your mind?
My last point of support for Ryan, he needs to hear this. Because Ryan, what do you say every time someone says the twist is not on trial, the game is not on trial? What do you say?
Yes, it is.
You say
maybe it should
be.
Maybe it should be.
So you didn't say it needs to be. You say maybe it should be. There's a lot of ambiguity loaded into that statement, and then you follow
It's
up with your
situational.
opinion.
Yeah, it is situational and it is subjective.
Yep.
But War Dog pisses me off.
All right, we'll leave it off of that.
Yeah, War Dog pisses me off. That's how I end this.
That's the end.
And then Sophie on Blue Sky asks, and we kind of said this already, but I want to shout it out again right at the end. Did Jamie Fallon just alienate the whole Survivor fandom? Also, Christian calling it out felt so vindicating.
Yes, he did. And if you're not pissed, you should be.
Cancel Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. Why did Colbert get canceled, but not Fallon's? BS. I know the answer to that.
To tell you what, Jimmy Fallon, if you get me cast on Survivor, I will forgive you.
Sure.
Use your celebrity status for something useful in this niche audience. And then at least we can get our listeners to forgive you. But yes, you've alienated a niche submarket.
He better bring Christian on his show if Christian wants to, and let Christian just chew him out.
In the words of the Boomerang Idol's Billie Eilish, you are now the bad guy. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Well done. Dumb but clever.
I don't even know what we're doing here anymore.
All right, well,
That's Derek's mantra.
dumb but clever.
Dumb but clever.
Yeah.
Christian sitting on the barge, sometimes the smartest person thinks they're really dumb. That's me all the time.
I think you're very clever.
But dumb.
No.
Ah, thanks.
I'm done.
Thanks.
I'm done.
I appreciate that.
I think you're very clever.
That's the nicest thing he's ever said about me.
Okay. Well, thank you for getting all your questions in. There's some good ones in there. Guys, social media.
Yeah, if you do have any questions, feel free to shoot them over and we'll answer them on the next episode too. So that can be anywhere at Castaway Pod, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook is Castaway Consultants, or our website is thecastawayconsultants.com.
All right, guys. Anything else tonight?
If you haven't gotten your link downs in, submit them now. Take a moment to do it. It's easy. So, yeah.
All right. Well, this has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.